candidates rally. Uh, Without further ado, we just start lah. Okay. So first off, we have Ramin running for Honorary General Secretary, and this will be his proposal speech.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ethan, Ramin's proposer. During the 3 years that I have known Ramin, I have been extremely fortunate to work with Ramin in a multitude of committees, including EHOC and HPB. During last year's EHAC, where he served as programs head, Ramin consistently demonstrated meticulousness and attention to detail, always ensuring that every possible scenario was carefully thought through and accounted for. These qualities are exactly what make him well suited to be a strong Hanjin Sec. But aside from his working qualities, Ramin is also one of the most passionate people about Eusoff. And from the many times I have worked with him, I can tell that he simply loves planning events for Eusoff. During the tough and tiring times of planning and executing EHOP, among the frowns and tired faces will be Ramin's smile, always enthusiastic to serve the hall. Aside from his passion while planning events, Ramin has always been passionate about sports, particularly during his time as floorball captain, where he led his team to a gold medal. Above all, Ramin is a selfless and kind individual. He always puts others before himself. He is a great candidate for any JCRC position simply because he is always willing to lend a listening ear or a helping hand to any of his friends or peers. For everyone that is opening up the form tonight with the intention of voting for your friends in other positions, I implore you to consider voting for Ramin for Hanjan Sec. He will most definitely make Yusof a better place with his vast experience in Yusof's many disciplines and his kind heart. Thank you.
Okay, now I'll get Ramin for his speech.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Ramin, and before I start, just first want to thank Ego for taking the time to record that video because he's very busy with work and he's currently at work also. So just want to give a shout out to him. Then I will now just continue to my part. So hi, my name is Ramin, a year three food science and technology student, and I'll be running for the position of Honjen Sec. So most of you probably will know me through sports such as floorball or maybe just see me around hall. So I definitely wouldn't say I'm the loudest person in the room, but I like to think I'm someone that you can rely on. So I usually do my work quietly in the background, making sure things are organized, people are supported, and everything runs as it should. And I think that's exactly what a Honjen Shack should be. So I'll be running for this role because I've seen how much effort goes into keeping Yusof running smoothly. From my time as floorball captain, as well as being part of EHOC and HPB, I've experienced everything from planning trainings to organizing events and coordinating teams, making sure that everything comes together and that people enjoy themselves. Which is why I feel I fit in with the role of being Honjin Sec, where although it's not always the most visible role, it's definitely one of the most important ones. So in my past experiences, especially in team and leadership settings, I've learned that good systems and clear communication make all the difference. When things are organized, everyone else can focus on what they do best. So given the opportunity, I want to bring a steady and dependable approach to this role, and I plan to learn from the previous Honjen Secs, continue doing what has worked well, and improve on areas where we can do better. So my main focus would just be on keeping things structured, ensuring clear communication, and supporting my JCRC team as much as possible so that any events or initiatives can run smoothly. To end it off, I won't guarantee anything flashy or out of this world, but I will promise to provide consistent, reliable work that the hall can count on to help you so function at its best. Yeah, with that, that's the end. Thank you, and I hope to have your support.
Okay, thank you, Ramin. Now we'll be moving on to Vice President Internal Candidate 1, Dylan Chan. Okay, this is his proposal speech.
T. So actually, if you look at VPI's job scope, right, technically it's actually the role of an entire committee, but it's actually translated into the job of one individual person, meaning that that person needs to be familiar with logistics, programs, and publicity for all three events. So that's actually a rather difficult task to do. Next up, the VPI also oversees, like every other JCRC, other committees in Eusoff, and the kind of the committees that VPI actually oversees actually includes HPB and HRB. And this actually ties in very well with why Dylan should be and is extremely suitable for this position. So now, who exactly is Dylan Chan, and why exactly am I proposing for him? So, Dylan was, to the freshies who do not know, the HPB and HRB head last year, and to the freshies who came for EHEC, he was one of the two project directors that oversaw and ran the entire EHEC camp. So, Dylan, as an individual, is someone who possesses high levels of leadership quality, acts as a servant leader, has extremely creative and thought-provoking ideas, and is able to execute and plan events very well. He's able to plan events and look at events from a macro point of view, understand the event, understand what needs to be done, and execute accordingly to the needs of the event. So how exactly does that line up well for him to be in the JCRC as the VPI? So most importantly is that his active contribution in the past 2 years in the different committees has given him an overview and macro understanding of what exactly the comms in halls have, what exactly they do, and he can be able to bring that kind of knowledge up to the position of VPI and ultimately use his abilities and strengths to help execute these events flawlessly and make it extremely fun for us Eusofians. And secondly, for his other part of the job, in terms of overseeing committees, as he was already part of HPB and HRB prior, he's able to understand the needs of these committees, what exactly these committees do, and actually help and facilitate the committee's heads and the POR office, any discussion and any kind of conflicts that they may arise for these committees. So at the end of the day, Dylan is actually a very well-rounded person. And on top of that, he himself runs an outside photo business. And that actually is another evidence and another example of him being able to contribute and control events, understand how events work, and ultimately being someone that is actively engaging in events, he's able to understand from a macro point of view the needs of an event and ultimately execute them extremely well. So at the end of the day, I think that Dylan is someone who is able to fulfill every single requirement of the VPI task extremely well. And given his past experiences in Eusoff and outside, he's able to do those flawlessly. And honestly, I think that he will make an extremely good VPI candidate. And I hope you guys are able to vote for him for this JCRC election. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we have Dylan Chan's speech.
Hello. Hello, hello.
Yes,
Yep.
can hear you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dylan. I'm a year three CS student. So I'm a resident for the past 2 years, and I just returned back to Yusof after going for exchange in China in Sem 1. I think a lot of you actually seen me before, maybe recognize me, but actually don't know who I am. And maybe you'll see me during NUS Open House or like Honors Day, or I give you hall tour around the hall, bring you through like the gates and stuff. Or even some of you went to EHEC, and then maybe you all can see me as a PD, but I cut my hair, so even my close friends also don't recognize me lah. So I understand. And actually, I'm quite glad to see so many familiar faces when I come back from China. So it actually just shows that all these small touch points and then all these hall tours that I give, right, it actually made an impact, and that our outreach is successful, and then you all are convinced to join Yusof lah. And I think those that know me will also know that I'm not those like corny and mushy stuff like, I love you so much, this kind of thing. But honestly, right, being away on exchange alone for I think like 5 to 6 months, it was really a huge change in the environment lah. From last time I come back from class, I come back to D4, I still got people to talk with for hours. But then in China, I just go back to my dorm in the winter, like damn cold, and like it's quite shag lah. And then when I finally came back to Yusof after my exchange, and then see familiar faces, catch up with friends, it felt quite nice lah. Yeah, and that was also when my good friend Yutong, currently in Germany, was telling me he was running for president, and then asked me if I want to support him in the role of like BPI and be part of the JCRC. So his proposal was a lot of fun, and honestly, year four already, literally last chance to do something with like a bunch of friends and have a final impact onto the hall. So hopefully you get to know me better through this whole entire rally. I think in the Q&A there will be a bloodbath also, and hopefully you know what I'm capable of, thanks to Jovan and his very long speech and why BPI role fits me perfectly. And I ask for all of you to vote wisely to choose who you think is a better fit and who will do a better job. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dylan. Now we're moving on to the Vice President Internal Candidate 2, Joshua Law. Okay. Okay, Joshua.
Wait, sorry, is it my proposals video first?
Yep, sorry.
Hi everyone, I'm Chester and I'm proud to be proposing Joshua for VPI. So I've known Joshua through Eusoff basketball and handball as a senior. And over time I've seen how he carries himself both as a teammate and also as a friend. So during trainings, Joshua is someone who takes things very seriously. He puts in the work, the grit, and shows up consistently and holds himself accountable. He doesn't shy away from responsibilities, and he sets a strong example for the people around him. What stands out to me is that he leads through his actions. He supports his teammates, looks out for others, and helps maintain a positive and focused team environment. And I think these qualities are exactly what we need as a Vice President Internal. Someone who is dependable, grounded, and are able to bring people together while keeping things running smoothly. Joshua is also approachable and easy to talk to, which makes a big difference in building a strong and connected hall culture. I've seen firsthand the effort and responsibility he brings, and I'm confident that he'll carry out the role perfectly. So I strongly encourage you to support Joshua for Vice President Internal. Thank you.
Okay, Joshua's speech.
Hi everybody, can you hear me? So
Can.
okay. So hi everyone, I'm Joshua and I'm a year one student currently studying data science and analytics. So I'm currently running for the role of Vice President Internal and I'm trying to seek your everyone's support for this. So as a freshie coming into Eusoff, I actually experienced firsthand and it actually gives me unique perspective of how we settle in, how we meet new people, and how I find my place here in Eusoff. And through that, I actually noticed what makes Eusoff special for many people and what are some areas that can be improved too. So I've been actively involved in basketball, hall events, and such as CMC and a lot of other events. And through that, I've actually learned the importance of consistency, discipline, and accountability. So through that, I'm someone who is very approachable too, and I'm easy to talk to. And I hope that as a role for VPI, it's not just handling responsibilities behind the scenes, but it's also about listening to people, understanding their concerns, and also making sure things run smoothly for everybody. So one area that I'm particularly passionate about and makes me want to run for this role is actually my sense of community among Eusoff. As we all know, we actually lost IG this year, but I feel that this is just a minor setback for a major comeback next year. So as VPI, actually, what I want is to promote a more interconnectivity between halls, between our blocks, and between Eusoff, such as activities that passed recently, such as festival, where everyone really had fun. So my vision is actually to create more opportunities for this kind of interactions between blocks, between cliques, even between sports and CCAs or culture, so that Eusoffians can bond beyond their usual circles and feel more connected as a whole, rather than within just their own group. So as a freshie, actually, I feel like this role to me is to challenge myself and also to learn new things. And as a freshie, I'm willing to step up and to pick things quick and actually to contribute back to the hall and to my team. So on top of that, I also like to thank Chester for his proposal for me and also for his recognition of my work that I've done for during my CCAs. And I hope that I'll get everybody's support for this case. And ultimately, I just want to keep it there that I want to help build an environment where people feel more connected and included and proud to be part of Eusoff. Yep. So I may be a freshie, but I'm really ready to learn and step up and give my best for this role. And to end things off, yep, I hope to get all your votes. Let's make Eusoff great again.
Okay, thank you, Joshua, for the speech. Now we shall move on to the Vice President External Candidate, which will be Anish. Okay, this will be the video for Anish proposal.
For Eusoff, I would like to say that I've known Anish for close to 2 years, 1.5, and I do feel he's a very capable person and also a very, very good friend. So Anish's responsibilities have ranged from Deputy Director of NUS Entrepreneurship Society. He has been Audit Head of Eusoff, SMC Treasurer, and also HVV Logs Head. So I've worked with Anish across most of his comms, and I've also played multiple sports with him ranging from floorball and truck. So I do feel he's actually very capable in his leadership positions, where in SMC Treasury, he was always on top of his receipts, always submitting claims on time. As audit head, he made sure that everything was in place and also ensured that people came down during the summer to actually do their jobs at audit. And also, as the Deputy Director of External Relations in NUS Entrepreneurship Society, he managed to secure many sponsorships and also network with many outside companies for the success of many events in the society itself. To touch on some other points, I do feel that Anish is a great friend through playing sports with him. I was actually a newcomer to truck, and Anish was one of the very few seniors that actually all of the seniors, but Anish was really stood out to me because he was really nice and he always guided me all the way through all the reps to the drills and everything, and he basically made me feel right at home at a sport that I was completely new to. Outside of hall, actually, Anish is he's been able to juggle his commitments both in and out of school, and even while he's doing his internship now. So currently, as I know, Anish is handling an internship. He's handling a module, and he's also playing sports and handling committees within hall as well. So he's able to juggle all these commitments while staying on top of everything. So I do feel he's a very capable candidate for this year's Vice President External, and I do hope that he can manage to garner your vote, and because I do feel that he will bring Eusoff forward and make Eusoff a better place to live in. Thank you.
Okay, it's time for Anish's speech.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, can.
Okay. So first of all, I wanted to thank Brian for the video. He really highlighted some of my experience, and yeah, thank you, Brian. So let me first start by introducing myself. My name is Anish. I'm a year 3 information systems major, and I have been staying in Eusoff for the past 3 years. And every year has been nothing but wonderful for me. So throughout the 3 years I've stayed in Eusoff, I have experienced a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Eusoff has seen me through basically this stage of my life, and every year has brought something new. Usually, whenever year 1 starts, it's always making new friends, having this sense of freedom and independence, and just experiencing many new things, which is something that I took on wholeheartedly. I joined DP, I joined many sports and culture and communities as well. And I decided I wanted to try and experience everything that was out there for me to try to see how it is. Year 2, year 3 onwards, I continued with this, still played my sports, joined communities, was the audit head as well. And throughout these experiences, I began to understand more of what, through these experiences as well as the friendships I made, I began to understand exactly what Eusofians need, what they want. And even while living in Eusoff, I got a sense of belonging to Eusoff, and I've been wanting to give back in a way that I think I'll be able to that only I will be able to. So I thought being the vice president, VPE, would be the best way for me to do so, as I have extensive experience with external relations, making communities grow, and obviously also be able to reach out to alumni and help students in Eusoff currently also become better and help them in the future as well. Along with this, I believe one of my greatest strengths is communication. I've been able to, along with my experience as Deputy Director for NES for External Relations, I feel like being able to talk is a very important skill,
which would definitely help me make events such as conversations, bringing in the use of alumni into use of to talk with the students and see and help them in the future. These are all skills that I feel are very useful and things that I will be able to help Usopians with. And I just want to end it by saying thank you for listening to this speech and give me a vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anish, for your speech. We'll be moving on to the next candidate. So for financial director, we have Damien Cheong, and his proposal will be doing it live. It will
Hello,
be Karin.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay. Hi, Yusoff. I'm Karine, and I'm proposing for Damien to be the finance director of the next JCRC. I've worked with Damien for the past 2 years in Mines, first as members together and now as the Mines Exco. As the finance and logistics head of Mines this year, Damien has proven to be a reliable, responsible, and very communicative leader. He has worked closely with his subcommittee members and always provided clear and timely instructions. Mines is a CCA that holds a lot of festive celebrations with our clients almost every month, as well as a very big U-Town excursion for our clients. So you can imagine how many event logistics and goodie bags are required. Nonetheless, under Damien's guidance, the Finlock team has always secured our logistics well ahead of time, and it makes our events extremely fast-free to set up, execute, and tear down. On top of that, Damien has always been proactive in our exco, and he frequently helps our other subcommittee heads unprompted. He's a very meticulous and trustworthy leader who is always on top of our budget and logistics, and after working with him, I'm confident that he'll be able to oversee Yusoff's finances for the next AY. Claims and budgets can be a very tedious or confusing process for many of us, but I have no doubt that Damien will be able to quickly clarify any doubts that we have next year, given his experience and genuine heart to help. Lastly, I believe that Damien's a very dedicated and organized leader. On top of his Mines duties, he has always been active in Hall over the past 2 years, from being heavily involved in Eusoff Swim and D-Block.com to being a part of Greencom Exco as well. Therefore, I know he'll be able to effectively manage his responsibilities as a finance director and contribute back to the people of Eusoff. So if you're looking for a finance director who knows what he's doing and will get you your claims as fast as possible, vote for Damien. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Karin. Now we have Damien giving his speech.
Okay, hi. Before I start, I want to thank Corinne for taking her some time off her schedule to give her speech live. So yeah, thanks, Corinne. So hi, Yusoff. I'm Damien, a year 2 BZA student, and I'm running for the 39th JCRC Finance Director. I would say that I've really experienced whole life to the fullest over the past 2 years, from swimming for Yusoff to dancing in DP in year 1, and to the many overnight sessions in hall lounges. And through all these experiences, I've come to understand what makes Yusoff so special to me. The people, the culture, and all the unseen effort that goes on behind the scenes to make everything come together. But beyond the fun and memories, I've also experienced the not so fun side of hall life, which is handling logistics, finances, and claims. So over the past 2 years, while serving in D-Block.com, Mines, and Green Committee, I've had to settle countless of claims and manage purchases. And like many of you, I also ask questions like, why is my claim taking so long? Why are there so many forms to fill up? And should I even pay up front next time? In fact, even up till today, I'm still waiting to be reimbursed over like $1,000 from expenses that I've paid this AY. So it's not that I just don't understand the problem. I also personally experienced the issues of the delays in claims and stuff. So that's why I want to step up. I want to make the finance process smoother, clearer, and more reliable for everyone. And now with evolving systems like NUSing and changing finance regulations, I'll make it a priority to stay on top of these changes, reduce confusion, and ensure that things run as seamlessly as possible. But most importantly, I'm not just running because I feel like I can do the job. I'm running because I do care about the people in Yusoff, and I want to support all the sports, cultures, and communities in bringing their ideas, goals, and visions to life. To me, it's about making sure that behind every event, every initiative, and every memory created in Yusoff, there is a system that supports it. So ultimately, I see the finance director role not just as an admin position, but also as one that supports and strengthens the entire Eusoff community. So if given this opportunity, I will do my best to serve with integrity, reliability, and a genuine commitment to giving back to a hall that has given me so much. So I hope to earn your vote of confidence. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Damien. Now we'll be moving on to Sports Director Internal, Corinne. So this will be her proposal speech.
And I'm going to be proposing for Kareem today to run for Sports Director Internal. So who exactly is Kareem? Kareem is actually a very meticulous and hardworking person who is putting in huge amounts of effort for whatever that she does, regardless if it's academics, hall, or in the terms of the sports that she plays. In sports-wise, she's extremely passionate about her sports that she plays, be it basketball or handball, and she puts in huge amount of efforts and will go the extra amount to train to ensure that her skills are there in order to win the championship. How do I know this? So let me tell you a very short story about what happened last year. So during IVP season last year, on a random Friday, I just casually asked Karine because I was going home, and I just asked her, "Hey, Karine, I got to go home this weekend, or when are you going home?" And then she just replied and told me that she was not going home because she has training and she has a match that weekend. And actually, for the past 4 weeks, she actually has not even been home at all. And this to me actually speaks huge amounts about her character and how much she's willing to give up and sacrifice for the sport that she loves, and how much effort she's willing to put in order to improve her skills and ultimately win the championship of the sport that she plays. However, this year, she actually tore her ACL, so she wasn't able to participate in IHG or complete her IVP. But however, next year, she would like to make a comeback, training even harder than before for the sports that she's playing. And in the role and capacity of an SDI, she hopes to be able to pull in and attract more talents into Eusoff in order to help other sports do so as well. So now, why exactly is she suited for this role of SDI? So currently, Karine is the current year SMC head and handball captain. So how exactly do these help her in her role of sports director? Firstly, for SMC head works extremely closely with your sports director, internal, and they actually link up a lot and basically communicate a lot to try and facilitate the planning of Eusoff sports events, for example, ISG opening and closing. So being the current SMC head, she will actually have a lot of knowledge about the going on in SMC, and she's able to bring this knowledge up to an even greater, higher position of sports director, and is able to advise the current or the new SMC heads what exactly was done well, what could have been improved, and how to better plan and engage Eusophians in our sports events. Secondly, being the handball captain, she's also able to understand the importance of managing her sportsmen and sportswomen. You need to make sure that your sportsmen and sportswomen do not burn out and they're able to manage between hall, academic, and their sports. And that's extremely important. And knowing this, being the sports director, she's able to extend that support to all athletes in Eusoff, not just for the sport she plays. Karine also has been in the sports scene for an extremely long time, playing basketball since she was young and picking up handball recently and in IVP. So she's able to know a great deal of people and has the connections necessary to pull in the necessary individuals to Eusoff to hopefully win us the championship next year and IHG. End of the day, she's able to bring her expertise in all her committees that she's done this year. She's an extremely meticulous and well-rounded sportsman, and she puts in huge amounts of effort into what she does. And I feel that she's an extremely strong and suitable candidate for Sports Director Internal, and I hope everybody is able to trust her and give her support and vote for her. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll have the speech by Corinne.
Okay, before I start, thank you, Jovan, for proposing for me. Hi everyone, I'm Karine, a year 2 psychology major, and I'm running for the sports director internal position. Okay, so I'll just jump into the reasons why I decided to run for this position. One of the reasons comes from my experience working with Reborn. As the handball captain at SMC head, I got the opportunity to work very closely with him. I got to observe how he engaged with teams, providing a constant support system through responding to whatever concerns we had, as well as getting to know individual members across various sports. Having a strong support system played a significant role in why our athletes were able to perform at the level they did during IHG, and I believe that most, if not all athletes, will have felt this supported throughout their sporting journey this AY, and I hope to continue creating this support system for our athletes to thrive in. At the same time, due to injuries, I wasn't able to fully contribute to my roles as much as I wanted to. I was not able to be present much to know my members well enough or to engage in events as actively during my recovery. As such, I believe that there is more for me to contribute to Eusoff, especially in an area where I already have knowledge in.
With my experience as captain and SMC head, I've gained a clearer understanding of how internal coordination works behind the scenes as well as the needs of teams. I believe that these experiences have equipped me with the insight needed to work closely with incoming captains, SMC, and the wider student body in Eusoff, not only to strive towards our goal of becoming IHG champions, but to also foster a more inclusive and supportive sporting environment for everyone. Thank you, and I hope to get your support.
Okay, thank you, Corinne. Now we'll be moving on to Sports Director External Candidate, and this will be his proposal speech.
Proposing Kantun for Sports Director External. Kantun may seem like a quiet individual, but he's actually someone that can be consistently relied on. He remains composed, handles matters with a level head, and leads from within instead of above his peers. As a sports director external, I believe that coordination and handling relationships matter the most, and I think his ability to work with others, build meaningful and intentional relationships will make a stark difference. He's able to listen and observe, take initiative behind the scenes to help achieve the goals of the hall. I believe he has the capability and mindset to strengthen Eusoff's presence beyond the hall and build connections externally, and that is why I support his candidacy. Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for Katie's speech.
Hi everyone. I would like to thank Tia for proposing for me. Hi, I'm Kantun and I'm running for Sports Director External. Hall has been a very memorable and enjoyable place for me the past 2 years, making new friends and experiencing a life unique to Eusoff. And seeing all the growth and improvements made by fellow Eusoffians have been inspiring, and I wish to keep this culture going. Personally, being in Eusoff has pushed me to try new things and step out of my comfort zone, and that's something I'm really grateful for. If I'm given the opportunity to serve as Sports Director External, I want to build on that by strengthening how we connect both within and outside the hall. That could mean creating more opportunities for improving relations with other halls, competing outside of school as a hall, and just working together with our captains and athletes so that we have more platforms to grow and perform. At the same time, I think it's also important to look at how we support our athletes. We already have a lot of talented and committed individuals in Eusoff, but sometimes what holds us back isn't effort, but the resources we have. So I do hope that moving forward, we can continue improving things like our gym facilities and recovery support so that present and future Eusoffians are better taken care of. In terms of how I work, like Tia said, I'm someone who is quite quiet and observant, but I will step up when needed, and I prefer to work alongside people rather than above them. I think that kind of environment where people feel supported and trusted is what allows teams to do well. Ultimately, I want to contribute to a Eusoff where we can continue to strengthen each other, where people feel supported, and where we can continue building a strong and lasting legacy together. I hope that I have your support, and let's make Eusoff great again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Now we will be moving on to the last candidate of today, running for Social Service Director, Charlize Ong, and this is her proposal's speech.
Hi, I'm nominating Charlize for the next SSD for Eusoff. And why? Well, because for the past year, I've been head with Charlize for elderly services, and I can confidently say that she's one of the most kind and reliable people you will ever meet. Like, she's so compassionate in whatever she does. She's a great leader, and I honestly, like, without her, I don't know what I would have done as head of a CCA. Like, she's such an important support pillar for me and an important pillar for the CCA as well. And her time management is crazy. Like, bro is head of elderly services and SMC and has her outdoor outing and all at school, and like she still can give her 100% for this CCA. So I think she would definitely give her 100% as SSD, and bring and do well lah. So yes.
Okay, now it's time for Shalisa's speech.
Hey, hi everyone, I'm Charlize. Can you hear me? Can, right?
Yes, can.
Hi, I'm Charlize and I'm running for Social Service Director. And for those who don't know me, I'm a Year 2 Infrastructure and Project Management student. And I've been staying in Eusoff since the start of uni. And through hall, I feel like I've been exposed to a lot of new experiences and got to know and work with many people. So over the past 2 years, I've spent a lot of time on SMC and elderly services. And I've had the chance to be co-heads for both committees this year. And if you've been to a frisbee game or you're a frequent customer of coffee, I'm sure we've also probably met before. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that Yusof has been a pretty big part of my 2 years in NUS so far and has given me a lot of opportunities to grow and learn to learn and grow as a person. Yeah. The next question that some of you might have is why SSD if I've had experiences from both SMC and elderly services. So social services is actually something that is very close to me. And throughout my life, I've had many opportunities to work with different beneficiaries. And with every interaction, I always get a certain sense of fulfillment and meaning that I don't think I can get anywhere else. Because it's definitely different from seeing a project come into fruition or pulling off a large scale event or even winning a tournament. And I believe what sets it apart is that you are helping real people and your actions have an impact on someone else's life. And this also made me realize that I'm actually very lucky to be in this position where I'm surrounded by like-minded people in hall and we can work together. Plus, we're also being given the support and resources we need. So I want to run for SSD to continue contributing to the broader community. And I also hope that I can encourage more Yusofians, the community that has been so close to me, to do the same. And thanks everyone for listening. And also shout out to Kelia. Thanks for being my proposer. And I hope to get a vote for SSD.
Okay, thank you, Charlize. Now with all the candidates finishing their speech, we'll move on to the next segment, which will be the JCRC Q&A. The JCRC, just feel free to unmute and ask your questions.
Hey, hi everyone. Okay, I just got some questions for my sports tees first. Give me 1 second. Okay, for KT, I want to ask, as sports D external, what are some of the changes that you want to implement, if you get elected as sports D?
I would try to better solve for facilities for Yusof. I mean, apart from improving our gym and our access to the ice machine, it also includes getting the courts. I understand this year SRC and stuff were being renovated, so we didn't have access to that. And I think the captains might know that there were a few times where Janine managed to get last minute courts from other halls. So, I mean, I would say that's not ideal. And if anything, we should try to get as many courts as possible so that our athletes have more options for training times and can commit to more trainings for when IHG comes.
All right, thanks. And I got another question for Kareen. So this year, apparently there's been a huge gap between culture and sports. So how do you plan to bridge this gap between the two shapes now?
I think the first step is to like recognize that sports and cultures shouldn't be like viewed as two separate groups. But instead like as one use of identity. both sports and culture play a very important role in shaping hall spirit and participation, but just in different ways. So like rather than trying to like see them as separate identities, I think as a sports D, I think I can help to strengthen the sense of community between both areas so that people feel like equally connected regardless of whether they are more inclined towards sports or culture. Another aspect would be trying to make sports more inclusive and accessible. Not everyone is like sports inclined or enjoys doing sports, which is completely okay. But by introducing more low commitment activities, we can create like a lower entry level for people who may lean towards culture but still want to engage in sports. So like for example, during cuts, the captains usually will remove people from the chats after they do the cut. So after you get cut and removed, you won't be like invited to trainings or like maybe open sessions that they will engage in for like just to chill and distress after like a long day. So I would like to propose that next year we keep like the mass chat before the first cut so that when people want to engage in like these distressing or chill stress sessions, they can also invite those that have been cut but are still interested in joining in. And finally, like I think I would like to make it a point to be present and supportive at both like sports and culture events. I think as the sports D, I engage, if I participate in like both supporting both sports and culture, I think it really sets the tone and it will encourage others to do so as well. Like for example, this year I was present supporting matches and I was also an audience in this year's DP. So I would encourage the next batch of Eusofians to do the same next year. Yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone for the question and Korea and Katie for the answers. Any more questions from JCRC panel?
Hi, I have a question for Anish. Hi, Anish. Yeah, so thanks for your speech just now. It was great to share your experience and what you want to do in your role as VPE. So, just now you mentioned that you want to connect more alumni, or like you want to be involved in connecting the alumni to the student body. So, could you share more about how you want to do that?
And so first of all, I think it depends on the type of connection that we're talking about. For Yusofians, or at least for me, what I would think is important is alumni have what I would say is job experience and have experience with life outside of hall, outside of student life, and what life will be like after uni is done. So especially considering all of this, I would like to have more sessions, maybe like sharing sessions with Yusof alumni that allows them to share exactly how their life is like after uni is over, and knowing how these alumni have lived through Yusof, they've been through the same type of like lifestyle that people are living right now. It would be a very good way for them to bridge the gap between the students right now, as well as how these students will be later on after graduating. So to do this, I think the most important thing is to reach out to as many as possible, because as a user fan right now, if someone were to thinking down the road, if someone were to reach out to me and ask me to give back to the hall, help give a speech, help the younger generation out, I would love to do things like that. I think the most important thing is to get the question across first, see if they would be glad to help. And knowing how things are, they will also love to organize events with us. So just be more proactive in that way and make sure that there are more reasons for them to come back, as well as make sure that the Yusofians who are staying in hall currently are interested in attending these events and helping them be future ready as well.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. So, yeah.
Okay, now I'd like to ask Charlize a question.
Hi.
Hi, Charlize. Okay, so just wanted to ask, what makes you think you're the best candidate for this role?
I think firstly, I've had quite a lot of experience with volunteering, not just in hall, but also not just in hall and school, but actually before I came to uni, I was doing an internship with a social enterprise and we organized like pretty big monthly events. Yeah, so I would say I have experience in both planning and also facilitating these sort of events. And I know like the type of work that needs to go on behind the scenes and that we need to be well prepared, for, especially for larger scale events. Yeah. And I think I'm also quite detail oriented in the sense that when I'm involved in something, I try to communicate with all the people that I work with. And I think that's a pretty like helpful skill, especially if I'm like SSD and I have to work with all my other com heads to understand better what they need. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hello, yes, can hear you.
I have a question for Raymond.
Yes, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. I have a two-part question. So, um, first is more on the admin side. Are there any systems that you want to change or maybe implement that will improve like the way that how it's running? That's the first part. And the second part is aside from the admin role, how do you intend to support your fellow JCRC members or the hall in general as functions?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I can't really hear properly.
Okay, hello. So the first part of the question is, are there any systems that you want to change or maybe new systems that you want to implement in hall? Then the second part is aside from admin, your administrative role, how do you intend to support your fellow JCRC members or support the hall in general?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think, firstly, new systems to implement, maybe, I think one part which, at least during my experience, is that the points system at the end usually gets quite unclear, and like a lot of, especially the freshies and a lot of like maybe people that are not so in the loop are a bit confused about how it works, or like, oh, why do I only get this number of points from this CCA? I thought it's this amount. So I think in terms of a system to like make that points knowledge like clearer to everyone would be something I want to work on, so that like everyone can understand that the system is fair and transparent and there's like no points adding last minute or anything. Then for systems that I want to continue, I think would just be definitely maintaining the communication between uh like just all the CCAs regarding especially the events-based bookings, which I thought during my time as floorball captain was very good for me, because it was very clear like, oh, this day on the calendar, this CCA is using, this day on the calendar I can use to book. So I think that's a good system that I want to continue and maybe try to enhance if I can find a better way. Then for the second question, I sorry, what was the second question?
Aside from the admin and working in the background,
Oh
how do
yes,
you
yes, correct.
intend to support JCRC in the hall in general?
Yeah, okay. I think aside from the admin, definitely because the I mean I see the role as more of a supporter, like I said. But I think in terms of how I would support would just be checking in, definitely, and just like making sure everything is running smoothly, like checking in with them if they have like any contingency plans or like anything they need help with. And also just ensuring that in terms of my end, whatever I can help to set up and whatever data that they need, or yeah, okay, that's a bit of admin, but yeah, like whatever, basically whatever that they need, I will just try to help as much as possible. And in terms of supporting Yusof as a whole, I think my job would just be mainly making sure that everything is smooth and like all the information is translated easily. because I think that would be the most important thing. And yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I have a question for my VPI candidates. So based on what I know from the both of y'all, Joshua, you're a freshie with like I would say relatively less experience attending hall events, but with a better view of the consensus of the general population because you're a freshie and most of the population is made up by freshies. And Dylan, you are a senior who has relatively more experience attending events or planning events in hall. But then since you just came back from exchange, you would generally have less sentiments of the population. So my question is, why should people trust you with this role, and why would you be better than the other candidate, and how will you make up for your relative weakness to the other candidate? Thank you.
Wait, Vienna, so you're just asking us how we try to make up for our shortcomings, right?
Yeah, and why you would be better than the other person?
Okay, I think I can start first. I think firstly, as previously mentioned already, I think when it comes to events execution, planning, and overseeing of HPB and HRB, I don't think anyone else would have that experience. Or like I think I would say in the current hall, the only one that has more experience than me would be Ashley Lian, and following me will be Christine and Jovan, which are my HPB and HRB heads, and they also plan EHOC together. Yeah, hi Ashley. Yeah, so I think to address the shortcoming of me not knowing what the current micro relationship between Yusofians are, I think it's quite a trivial aspect because at the end of the day, I know what is going on at a macro level. Is that firstly, there's a huge gap between sports and culture, and I think this is it's an issue that we always see whenever it's a cycle lah. Whenever like sports losers, I think this gap is widened. And I also talked to the year twos, which actually are the committee heads and subcom heads. And I think I get a very good understanding of how the current population and what the current USO relationships are like. But I think what is more important is that the experience to plan and execute an event is something that Joshua that doesn't have. And honestly, as a JCRC that overlook HPB and HRB, you don't have a lot of opportunities to learn on the spot. Plus, you did mention that you will try to pick up and then try to gain this experience. Because HPB and HRB, they have a very large scale. HRB and HGD both, the budget that you handle, as well as the number of participants that you are dealing with, right? You can't afford to make a mistake. And it's at such high stake that honestly, you make a mistake, then you're just gonna get hit on. Your heads will most likely have more knowledge. Actually, they will definitely have more knowledge over HCB and HRB over you as the GCRC overseer of their events. And at a point, how can provide them any feedback, provide them any like suggestions and anything at all. Yeah. So I have been through I would say the worst events of Yusof as well as the best events of Yusof. Throwback EHBB finale for those that actually remember that. And I think experience really just trumps everything when it comes to VPI and as well as knowing what works and what do not work in Yusof. Yeah.
Okay, so hi, Joshua. So I'm gonna answer the first question first, which is that why am I the better candidate? Now, why am I more suitable compared to him? So I actually do not discredit what Dylan has, which is his experience as ex-HRB head and HPB head. This experience is very, very, very valuable and it's something that is needed also. That one I do. Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can you?
Wait, from the start, or I knew?
Yeah, from the start.
Okay, so I do agree that his experience is very valuable. Okay, so on the point where he says that actually experience trumps over everything and that it's like I can't afford to make a mistake. I do agree with that also, but we got to agree that all heads of all CCAs, they were once a freshie too. And this opportunity is given to them for them to thrive well too. So there's always this opportunity to learn. And that's something that, like during my speech at the start, I said, I'm very receptive to learning. And that's how I will overcome my shortcoming for the of lack of this experience that I have. What I can is I'll be proactive to go and learn the roles and responsibilities. I've really been doing that, doing my homework before this election, going around asking heads and also asking maybe the JCRC members what is their roles and responsibilities and the things that they do also. So I wouldn't compare myself as a better candidate, but I would say that both of us provide strengths to the hall that depends on who and what our target audience really wants. So for myself, I already mentioned how I'm going to overcome my shortcomings, which is the lack of experience, is to be more proactive. And also, why do I feel like why do I want the support of the general public? It's because I feel like I do have the vision, like what he said also, that there's a gap between the sports and there's a gap between the sports and culture. So this gap is always prevalent when I do realize also by talking to many seniors such as like Chester or Royce, like this gap is always prevalent whenever we lose ISG. And that's something that is something that we got to overcome together. And Dylan has more opportunity in this, but for myself, I actually understand more about the public consensus of what Eusophians think since he just came back from an exchange. But that is not discrediting him too. So I call upon Eusophians to vote carefully and to give me this chance and trust me to put in the work, to be more proactive, working with various HRB, HPB, and this type of committees to make Eusoff great again. Thank you.
Hello.
Okay, thank you. Oh, okay.
Oh, I want to ask a question to Damien. My video is okay. So Damien, during your speech, you mentioned you wanted to tackle like the evolving systems, such as the implementation of NUS Sync and like the changing finance regulations, right? So as these are things that are not actually like controllable on our end, I guess, because it's up to NUS at the end of the day. How are you going to ensure that things run seamlessly next AY, like you promised earlier? Since like these are things that ultimately, as the finance director, you actually can't influence that much. Yeah.
Thanks, Marcus, for the question. I mean, yeah, on my end, there's only so much I can control. But I guess it takes two hands to clap. And I'll definitely need the support from the NUS Eusoff Hall side, firstly, and also my future finance committee to help me prepare for any uncertain changes or any funny updates that NUS Finance might come up with. So I personally like liaise with Miss Rashida, Miss Rahima to understand the changes that NUS Finance is making also, and the processes that might be altered for next AY in terms of how claims are processed, how fundraising will be held via NUS Sync, and what other like changes are made compared to last AY and next AY. Yeah. Um, and from what I can do personally, that I can control is like to make sure that all claims procedures, forms, guidebooks will be updated and streamlined accordingly, definitely. Even before the new AY starts, so that everything is prepped before like everything kicks off at the start of next AY. Yeah. And then also like to intend to organize meetings with future treasurers to ensure that they understand how claims procedures are like. If they have any queries, any doubts, you can always approach me as well. Yeah. And yeah, so I'll be on the ball because this kind of thing also, as you said, it's hard to control and predict on my side. But yeah, thanks, Marcus.
Okay, thank you for questions from JCRC and the answers and responses from the candidates. Is there any more questions that the JCRC want to ask? If,
Yes, hi.
yes, okay.
I have just one question, a general one. Any candidates can answer. So when you're working together as JCRC, sometimes when you're working together as a JCRC, maybe there are times where you have conflicts with one another. So what will you do to resolve this conflict? Like if you see two other people having a conflict, what will you do?
Maybe I can go first. So thank you for the question. So the question would be working together as JCRC. If there's like a fallout between members, like what will I do? So firstly, I think the most important thing is to understand the situation and not to pick a side first, because individually each of us have our own points, and some might be right and some might be wrong. So let's not jump. Firstly, I will not jump into the conclusion and to side anyone. I will separate them first, and I'll talk to one, understand his plight, know what's his strength, what's his weaknesses, what is his troubles. Afterwards, I'll talk to the other person, and from there on, right, as a committee, I feel like we need to work together to solve this situation. See, by sitting down and having a having a nice conversation and to plan out what's been good and what's been bad, and what can be solved and what can't be solved. I think always conflicts always happen whenever two of people in a group they have differing ideas and they start to bicker because of situations such as ego and all that. So working as a JCRC, I think moving forward, we have to put aside our ego firstly, putting aside our ego, working together, understanding each other's point of view. We come from various backgrounds. I may come from a sport background, he come from a culture background. Some may come from none of these backgrounds. So with these differing backgrounds comes with differing opinions. So most importantly is always sitting down, understanding each other and working together to solve instead of quarreling with each other. So to answer that is really to work as a team, as a JCRC is really to work as a team. That's how I solve conflicts. Thank you.
Maybe I can go next lah. I think this JCRC is made up of different personalities and different characters lah. But I think, being very frank, I think we're all old enough that if you're running for JCRC, we should all be mature enough when it comes to like any conflicts or any tense moments, you could say, right, that we are all mature enough to resolve it within ourselves and talk it out lah. Yeah, so let's say if two parties or two individuals can't figure it out, right, I think they should loop in the whole JCRC so that as one committee, we can decide what's best for Eusoff Hall. Yeah, so that's my response.
Hello. Can I check if you're still taking response for the question?
Sure,
Yeah,
man.
thank you
Go
for
ahead.
answering.
Yep. Okay. Can. So thank you for the question. I think for me, the way I settle my problems is that I'm very transparent and I'm always very objective. And if let's say this JCRC were to be voted in, then I would have worked with three of them, being Anish, Ramin, as well as Yutong, throughout my times in HPB and HRB, as well as my good relationship with Damien. And I think they can vouch for the way I resolve conflict in a very objective manner. Remember Anish when you invite a lot and then I just called you out. And I think being part of a committee that has so much say and power, right, is actually very important that you are transparent with all your communications. When you have transparent communication, then that is also when you are able to resolve things faster. And I think one thing that I'll try to work towards is to have the entire JCRC work as be more close. I think 2 batches ago, which was under Jerica, even though the JCRC was quite ragtag, where they were getting people joining through by-elections or even through co-opting. But I think what Jerica did well throughout her term was that she was able to get the JCRC to work together and they were super bonded. And you can actually see how fast they will be able to resolve any conflict as well as to get anything done and get things approved. So yeah.
Okay, thank you for your responses. We'll take two more questions from the JCRC before we move on to the public Q&A session. So is there any more questions from JCRC?
Yes, I have. Okay, this question is for Raymond, Damien, and Dylan. So I think that the three of you guys know that if you guys get elected, you will be taking up a master list spot. And we all know that there's only 50 slots in the hall for master list and it's very precious. So what makes you think that you deserve the ML spot over other very deserving Yusofians? And what changes will you bring that makes us want to vote for you, that makes us believe you are deserving of this ML spot?
Dylan, go
Okay,
first.
Damien.
Dylan, go.
Okay lah, can lah. Yeah, I think when it comes to master list, I think it's a very sensitive topic. I mean, you have the sports fighting for number of vacancies. You have also culture fighting for vacancies. And from someone that doesn't do sports or culture, I think that is gonna be a question that I get asked very frequently. And even throughout my years, I've mostly been a committee person. But I think what is actually important is that when you think of the master list, you must think of what impact that master lister is able to bring to you. So I would say, especially when it comes to JCRC, unless you beg to differ that JCRC is not important, but JCRC has a very huge impact, especially as a role of VPI. And overseeing HRB and HPB is just a very important role, especially when you are working with internal and external. So with HPB coming in as under the purview of DPI, because previously it was under media director. I think I also did discuss with Master when we really discussed a few plans that we can go ahead with, as well as what we will be doing throughout this JCRC term. So taking over the purview of HPB, I definitely try to increase our outreach. And I think one thing that the Master brought up was a very good point was to outreach to international students as well. And one pain point that I think all of us know is the international students quota. And instead of just complaining about, wow, we have to like reserve 30% for international students. Actually, why not we just capture the international students who are like athletes as well? I mean, if you compare Singapore to like the ASEAN Games, right? They are so much better in terms of athletes wise. Like you think Dom Ko is like the GOAT, right? But you go to his YouTube videos, you just see him getting like dashed by other people. And that just shows how much foreign potential is there. And I think this is something that we can capture on and can improve our like so-called identity and work around what policies that we are forced to work around. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I can go next lah. I think my answer is similar to Dylan also. So when you put into perspective ML sport for a sports person and JCRC, right? I think they both contribute differently to Yusoff Hall. Yeah. So personally, I think my experiences in handling finances for all the committees I'm involved in, right? Along with my work ethic speaks for itself lah over the past 2 years. Yeah. And I do feel like with my future finance committee, we got what it takes to handle all finance matters as well. And yes, taking ML sport might mean one less national team player for sport. But if you replace the ML sport with a less competent finance director, right? I feel like the structure of all CCAs and all committees will be flawed. And that will have a bigger impact than not accepting that one sports person that might potentially get you the win for IHG. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Hi, yes. Okay, I think thanks Rivon. I think that's a very valid point also, which I also thought of because I mean for those who know my main sport is floorball, so obviously there was a consideration to master this through that also. And I think for me, the main reason why I'm doing JCRC is also because of what you just mentioned, which is that I don't want to just master this and waste that master this sport on just doing one sport, but I want to help give back to the hall also in the same way. And I think I agree with both their points, which has been mentioned so far. Like a JCRC sport is something that is very important and deserves like the master list in terms of you are bringing in someone that you know is capable, that you know has the abilities to help serve the hall. And I think I can offer that while also still helping in the sports side, which of course we know how important it is to Yusof in terms of uh firstly playing or like even if I am not able to play due to cap reasons or whatever, I think because of my special position as a goalkeeper, there is uh a way I can give back also to the CCA by coaching. So I think that's how I can offer myself as a more suitable candidate for the ML position in terms of having this dual role of sports and also just being capable to hold the JCRC role, especially for something as important as Honjen Sec to help support everyone. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, we'll have one last question from the JCRC, and in the meantime, I'll be opening the public Q&A segment, so y'all can scan the QR code and ask questions. Last question from JCRC, please.
Never mind. JCRC have no more questions already.
Okay, then we'll move on to the public Q&A session. Y'all can scan the QR code and I'll ask the questions. Okay, there's a question for Dylan. For Dylan, it seems that you mentioned a lot about the weaknesses of Joshua as a candidate, and most of your anecdotes for learning are from others, not necessarily yourself. What exactly do you bring as a candidate?
Wait, can I clarify the most of my anecdotes are learning from others? Is that like referring to me or uh, referring to Joshua? Because I think Joshua was the one that mentioned learning from others. But I think what I can maybe recap on what I can bring as a candidate would be my experience, especially when I mean from the VPI role is to plan for gel camp, formal dinner, as well as for the Yusof Awards. So these are event based, and I think event planning and execution are my strengths. Because previously I planned two EHAC, one EHOP, as well as HRB for one entire year. So I would say that is I would say it's sufficient, especially when gel camp is similar to like EHAC or EHOP, and we also plan a 3-day 2-night camp to get the leaders of Yusof to gel together. And I think gel is a very important camp because when I attended gel, I actually met a lot of different heads from the other committees, and it's quite important to know like different heads because you need to help one another out, in terms of logistics or in terms of like getting things done in Yusof. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your question. The next question is open to all the candidates. How would you guys fix the current bad hall culture where everyone is isolated and just minding their own business? This space feels more like a place to stay rather than a home away from home. Yep, so open to all candidates.
I think I can answer that. I think that's quite a good question from, yeah. I think it starts by recognizing that hall isn't built by like one person or one committee. It's shaped by how well everyone works together. And I sincerely hope that if this batch of JCRC works well together, we are able to portray to the rest of hall that we can be one lah, and we can be united and be more bonded as well. Personally, as finance director, I'm a touch point for every single CCA lah. So I can see myself play as like a bridging role. So maybe I can use that opportunity to understand what different CCAs are doing, identify any issues, overlaps, and encourage more collaboration between different CCAs and sports and culture and culture CCAs. Yeah.
Does any other candidate want to take up the question? If not, we move on to the next question.
Maybe I can say also. So yeah, I do understand that Yusof is like being viewed as like everyone is very isolated and it's like it feels more like a place to stay rather than a home away from home. So actually I do feel like it's because we have like activities and like events that are within blocks which is like more concentrated towards like their friend cliques. So like we are more focused on like block events and stuff like that, which actually take away opportunities for like inter-block connectivity. So actually I participated in like various events, like even recently like about festival, and I really think I also hear from Yusofians that it's like one of the most fun and engaging activities and also plan for Yusofians altogether. So actually, from running for my position, I really hope to promote this connectivity by actually having more of this type of like hall-wide events, because I really, really do feel genuinely that it's really, really fun and engaging for people of everyone in the hall rather than just connecting with like our small community within our blocks or our friend cliques.
Okay, thank you for the answers. We move on to the next question. Okay. To Joshua, you mentioned in your vision for Yusof that losing IHG was a setback, but you see it as motivation for next year. But as VPI, your job role does not involve IHG. Why did you run for VPI and not Sports D?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So understand is like, okay, so during my speech, I do say like use of IG has been a major setback for us lah. The reason why I do say that is because Yusof is actually labeled. I do feel like it's really a sports hall, and this actually make a lot of Yusofians feel sad lah. That's why I say it's actually a major setback for us. So for the reason why I don't run for Sports D and instead of VPI, because I feel like VPI is more aligned towards what my vision is for the hall. And the main vision, as I stated, is actually to increase connectivity between Yusofians. From my previous question that I've mentioned also is that I do feel like what we can do is actually to promote more of these inter-hall activities for Yusofians to come together and to have a more for Yusofians to know each other more also. So that's something that I would like to do, and that's also the reason why I run for VPI, and that's also the reason why I stated that that is a major setback that IH fast losing IHG is because I feel like it's still everyone's common goal, even as VPI myself. Like even if I were to get VPI myself, it's still everyone's common goal to win IHG ultimately. So with this loss this year, I do feel we shouldn't be sad and we should strive harder next year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we move on to the next question. Uh, next question. I'll combine these two questions for Joshua. Your lack of experience and how Yusof works and how Eusoff works is evident even throughout your speech. You want to foster better relationships between blocks, but this is actually the role of SAD. So wouldn't running for SAD be better? And there's also a question on they mentioned it seems like a lot of people that you work with have had bad experiences working with you in terms of work ethic. How will you respond to this? And feel free to disagree.
Okay. Can I see the first question first? Okay. This for Joshua. Sorry, give me some time. Let me read first. Your lack of experience. Okay, I do agree. Okay, this is actually a very valid question also. So actually the job scope of VPI don't only tend to is okay. The job scope of VPI is for three things also. Is to plan for formal dinner, gel camp, and also for tea. Okay, these three things. On top of that, the vision that I've shared to foster better relationships, I think I can better exemplify it through my role as VPI. So firstly, actually, another part of the role for VPI is actually to be the ex-official head in charge of HPB and HRB. And I'll actually, so the roles is also to look through their proposals and stuff and to give them guidance if they need any help. So HPB and HRB are actually committees that are actually involved in actually planning of events. And according to what I say about my previous vision about how I want to increase and foster better relationship between blocks, I do feel that one way to do so and better do so is also through these events, which me running as VPI actually I can which me running as VPI, I'll be the ex-official in charge of HPB and HRB. So events that are being planned for hall-wide events will be better planned because I'll be able to see I'll be able to see like what are these events about, and I'll also be able to like stir these events towards promoting our hall culture. So as to why I did not run for SAD, actually it's very simple because firstly, I do feel like VPI is really what suited me the most due to the fact that one of the roles and responsibilities is to be the ex-official in charge of HPB and HRB. And as I've also mentioned, one of my strengths and one of my visions is actually to promote connectivity. So I feel like by being able to gear the committees towards planning towards this kind of events, that's how I'll tackle this problem of fostering better relationship between blocks. Thank you. So there's also a next question, right? Okay, thanks, Jerome. So for Josh, it seems a lot of people have. Okay, so actually you all have said like the question is to say like a lot of people have been working with me and they have like bad experiences working with me in terms of work ethic. So I do disagree with this statement lah, to begin with first. So I do admit that my character as a person is someone that is loud, someone that is I like to joke around sometimes and just spike joy. And this might be taken wrongly during my working experience with others. I might be loud and stuff like that, but then I always keep in mind to get my workload done, my work part done. That's one part that I disagree about this. But I do understand where this question is coming from about having an issue with my work ethic because as someone who is loud and all that, I might it's quite easy and also it's quite understanding to be misunderstood lah. So I do feel in a way I do disagree with this question, and with utmost respect and all, I do feel like I actually keep things prioritized and I also prioritize my workload and just do things that I'm meant to do. So I do disagree with this question. That's about it.
Okay, thank you for your answer. I'll skip these two questions because they are similar to the ones that I've asked. Okay, then for the next question, it'll be for Damien. You did not specifically say how you can improve regarding the NUS claim system. So how does this show that you are better than anyone else, and how are you worthy of taking an ML spot when you are not spectacular in anything else?
Thanks for the question. I wouldn't say I'm definitely spectacular lah, and I also don't think that I'm better than anyone else. I just do think that I am competent in my role if given this opportunity. And I also do believe that I am consistent, reliable, and able to serve hall effectively lah. Based on my past 2 years working in different committees and sports throughout the past 2 years. Yeah. So I believe that my friends are able to vouch for me for my work ethic as well. Yeah. So also from handling finances, I've gone through the full process of claims reimbursements, dealing with rejected claims multiple times. Unfortunately, Marcus has to suffer also. But with all this, I think I've learned along the way as well, this past two AYs, on how to find the most efficient way in dealing claims rejections and claims processing as well. Yeah. So just to summarize, yeah, I'm definitely not spectacular, but I do think I'm competent for this role. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Damien. I'll take the next question for sports Ds. How will you balance the ML sports? Uh, for example, a very good player who only plays one sport and will not contribute in other areas versus a well-rounded person who does culture, sports, and comms, but might not be a key player in their sports. So open to the sports Ds.
Uh, I think that overall we really need to look at what they can contribute or because if they are only good at one sport and then that's the only sport they contribute to and like nothing else in hall, then I believe that we would rather take someone who can contribute in multiple sports or in culture as well. Furthermore, it's a bit hard to gauge, but we're trying to reach out to the future captains and ask them to prioritize who they need and think about future lineups so that they can give us a proper assessment of like who they will need in the future, and then we will work off with them. And I also understand that there is a tight ML criteria, so we'll try our best to split the ML evenly across all sports and throughout hall, and do our best to pull in the right people for hall next year.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, there's a question for Dylan. Dylan, you just got back from exchange and always and are always away from hall. How can you ensure that you will get to know the people, especially the freshies, and understand their concerns and make informed decisions based on their requirements if you are elected?
Yep. Okay. So actually, even though I'm always away from work, it's because currently I'm interning. But I think I've been attending events as well as going down to the games to support some of the games as well. Yeah. What's the question? Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think like as a VPI, one of the more important things is to plan the gel camp. I think gel camp is very important because at the start of the academic year is where all the leaders come together and then you actually discuss how you are going to move forward and etc. So I would say gel camp will set the tone for the rest of the AY. And to understand the concerns, I will definitely be at events, and I think it's impossible for one person to go down and talk to every single one of them. So it's also very important to have like channels that people can feedback, or like through the subcom heads or the com heads that eventually reach back to me. And I think being like close to the com and understand how the com works is actually important to make informed decision based on the requirements. Because if you know what is the objective of the event, what is the objective of uh this particular com, what they're gonna do and how they're gonna execute it, it's actually important. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
Thank you, Dylan. There's one more question for you. Master listing requires a minimum number of points, which many know you have not met the requirement. Why the exception for your case, and will this give away the message in future that people can just utilize JCRC to master list back?
Okay, can. I think for those who do not know, this has been ongoing in the background where my nomination was getting rejected because they claim that I do not have minimum number of points. But I think firstly there's a lot of ambiguity. If you look at the CCA handout booklet, which state that SEM2 residents are only required to join one CCA. I think secondly, this has also been brought up to Master, which I personally talked to Master, and I shared with her of why I'm running for JCRC, as well as why I do not participate in other CCAs. In fact, actually at the start of the SEM2, I was actually talking to Miss Rashida and a few of the SCRCs. I was just telling them the rationale for me not joining other CCAs was that actually Yusof already have a legacy issue. So me joining in SEM2 as a member and taking up points will actually just reduce the number of points available and reduce the number of opportunities for the freshmen to join the comms and learn and gain experience. So I feel like as a senior, I shouldn't be joining as a member and take away all these like meaningful and valuable opportunities from all the freshmen. Like honestly, as a year 3, as a year 4, I joined this kind of comm. There's really no point. The number of points I get also really doesn't matter. And at this point, I really joined for the sake of the points. The comms that I actually was thinking of joining, if I were trying to stay, was like Greencom, Blockcom, HB, HRB. But throughout all of these, I also still give them my feedback. I also still talk to the heads like Kirstine and Joven for HBB and HRB on the events and how they are keeping up with things. So it's not really like total phantom and etc. But I agree that is the CCA handouts will definitely be revised, especially if or without I will ask for like Yutong to change that because it's really very ambiguous. And yeah.
Thank you, Dylan. Next question is to Anish. Multiple people have cited you as a poor groupmate. Questionable.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so to answer this question, I believe everyone is growing. I'm not gonna deny the fact that I may or may not have been a poor groupmate in the past because I see myself as someone who wants to grow as much as possible and take as much opportunity as possible. And sometimes this may not equate to being able to provide equal amount of time to everything. But I know what I want in my life now, and I know what I had done to. I know which experiences and which roles I want to do better in, and things such as things that are important to my roles such as communication and things that are important to my role as VP is things that I've definitely worked on. One thing that I would like to change is I would like to talk to the people who have seen me as a poor group mate and see how I can improve. Because I always see myself as someone who is not perfect, obviously, and everyone has their faults, but I would definitely take the initiative to improve and make myself a better person in the future. As for my work ethic, I think from all the work that I've done with my committees in hall as well as my external CCAs, I believe personally that there is not much room for complaint, and I complete my tasks as well as sometimes maybe even go above and beyond if possible. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Anish. Next, there are a few questions for Dylan, but I'll just take the most upvoted one. For Dylan, from the speech, it seems that you think you are better than everyone and have a superiority complex. Do you think that is the case? How are we supposed to trust you when it feels like you are looking down on us?
Okay, can. I think like from the speech, actually, I especially in the Q&A by Vienna, the question was why I'm a better pick than the other candidate. And I would say in this kind of rally I mean, it's either you kind of upsell yourself, you should lose one. Yeah, and I don't think I have a superiority complex. Actually, people know me. They know I got a bit of like the imposter syndrome lah. I don't think I'm good enough for stuff. But when it comes to community based experience, if I'm not confident in my ability, then I cannot get you all to be confident in me. Yeah. So yeah, I mean there are definitely things that I'm not good at, like sports, culture, all this kind of shit. But like when it comes to community and it comes to event planning, yeah, as I mentioned, I mean there's actually Lian lah. She's definitely better lah, though, and more experience. So yeah.
Thank you for your answer. Uh, okay, the next question is for all the candidates. Many people felt that the JCRC this year was really absent. So how would y'all avoid this issue?
I think I can start lah. I think something that I mentioned previously also was 2 batches ago, Jerica, JCRC. I think that batch in their community was really very present because they were really a bunch of friends, and you can hear them making a lot of like not really noise, but you can make their presence felt throughout everywhere. So one thing that I think is very important is for the JCRC to be bonded, to be like able to work together well. And I think a lot of people also know this year JCRC was quite divided, and that's something I will try to avoid if I am elected as a BPI. So I think being bonded as a GSS is the first step. And going events together, be it sports, culture, community events, just go down together. Everyone will know you. Yeah.
Anybody else want to take up the question? If not, we will move on. Okay, we move on to the next one. This question should be for Joshua. How do you think your lack of experience compared to year 3 might affect your execution, and what gives you confidence that it won't be a disadvantage?
Okay, thank you for the question. Sorry, let me read first. Okay, so my lack of experience compared to a year 3, how will it affect my execution? So as Dylan has mentioned, he's actually head of HRB and HPB also, which gives him like many opportunities to actually work on these projects before. As VPI, the job scope is also to plan formal dinners, gel camp, and for tea. So one of the things that I feel is that the lack of experience would mean I only make a constant effort to constantly learn and to constantly seek for information that I do not already have. Example for that would be proactively asking, proactively trying to find out what am I lacking, what do I need to know from the former heads. Example would be like Joven and all that. So I need to proactively ask for this type of information and also to learn and be receptive to learning also. So these are the things that I feel might affect my execution compared to a year 3, such as Dylan himself. And what gives me a confidence that it won't be a disadvantage? Okay, so what gives me a confidence that this won't be a disadvantage for me is that I myself feel like I'm a very receptive learner, receptive listener too. I'm open to feedback and open to improvements too. So in any case whereby I feel like something is wrong, I'm open to someone telling me and teaching me the ways. Since I'm a freshie, I bring good perspective and new perspective to the table. So with two things hand in hand, a fresh perspective and a listening mind and a learning heart, I do feel that it won't become a disadvantage for me. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joshua. Next question for Anish. You mentioned you would be able to connect Eusoff with beneficiaries as VPE. Can you perhaps name any specific companies or organizations that you would be able to link the hall up with?
Hi, yeah. So, for that question, currently, I would say I don't really have any specific companies in mind, but depending on the state of the hall and what it needs right now, definitely I have some ideas in mind lah. So, for example, first thing I would do would definitely be to maintain a state of communication between the hall as well as myself, so that I can see what are some things that the people who live here would definitely would want to see more of, or be able to have more of. So this first step of having this communication that is very important, because only then will we be able to know what is necessary and what people want, which would also then prevent unnecessary sponsors or just reaching out for the sake of reaching out, which are some things that I would like to do as VP. And other than that, seeing how the residents respond to certain events, maybe like how successful festival was recently. I can see that people love free food and like things that are related to those kind of things. Definitely put more effort into reaching out to the sponsors more. So yeah.
Thank you, Anish. Okay. The next question is for Ramin. Your predecessor was labeled as a phantom. How do you intend to establish your presence despite working in the background?
Okay.
And since you are
yeah.
running short in time, can answer short and sweet answer lah. Thank you.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, sure. Yeah, I think first, I don't really think the phantom is very right way to describe my predecessor, and I just think like in general, uh, it's not really about like how often you speak up in events or anything, because the work done is more important, and definitely for my role, yes, we do our work more in the background. So in terms of establishing presence, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but if you're asking like whether I will be present in hall, I think definitely simple things like going down for events, trying to garner support to support events, support our athletes at ISG, support our cultural CCAs at DP. I think that would be basic things that I will definitely do. And in terms of basically being around in hall, if that's what you consider as not being a phantom, I think it really depends on the people you interact with, because there's not going to be a way that you will see someone every day. So yeah, I think that's all I have for this question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, to Charlize, there's a question for you. What are your thoughts on people farming easy points from comms CCAs, and how would you deal with this issue?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Okay, thanks for the question. I think, okay, personally, when it comes to comm CCAs, I feel like generally people have a very big demand for it, and I also recognize that some of it is because they do indeed want to farm easy points. But I think on my side and on the committee heads and subcom head side, what we can do is try to kind of set higher expectations, and also make sure that like we're sure of what we want to do, what things we want to achieve in the committee throughout the year. Like for example, I think not everyone knows about this, but actually at the start of the year, every committee head is required to submit a work plan. And I think as JCRC, okay, personally when I was doing elderly services head, my JCRC in charge, Asha, she actually checked in with us a lot about like our progress on certain events that we wanted to do, how the volunteering events were going, everything like that. And as incoming SSD, I think I'll try my best to do the same and also kind of enforce these expectations more because I think I also believe that like this farming easy points thing is also part of like the points inflation problem. Yeah, and it should be curbed.
Okay. Thanks, Charlize. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking through the questions. Okay, there's one to Joshua. Being a receptive learner, bringing fresh perspective and being proactive are bare minimum qualities. What exactly are you bringing to the table, if not the skills you to plan large events for your job scope?
Okay, thank you for the question. Give me some time. Let me read first. Okay, thank you for the question. So, okay, as I already mentioned, being a receptive learner and fresh perspective, I don't need to repeat this. So, what I bring to the table is also, okay, as you all have known, my commitments are also to CMC and to DP also. So, through this type of involvement, I actually do learn some skills and also learn what needs to be done for this kind of events. So, for VPI, the job scope will be formal dinner, gel camp, and tea. So, I do feel like this type of skills are actually translatable. Okay, not only my participation for comms in these areas only, outside of hall itself, I do have experience in events planning too. But on top of that, I do understand the difference between events planning outside and events planning in Eusoff Hall itself. My events planning outside may be in a case that is not transferable or may be transferable to Eusoff Hall itself. But I do feel that the skills for hall planning itself is very, very relatable. So I do feel, with me saying that I have a lack of experience in large events for planning, I'll disagree with that to begin with. I do feel I have some sort of experience for this kind of planning of large events. And to top it, on top of that, is me being a receptive learner to be able to take in inputs and to improving what can be done better from the previous administration. That's what I'll say. So to just end things off, I just disagree, basically, that I just disagree that I do not have the skills to do so. Yeah.
Hello, hello. Okay. Uh, I'll take one last question. Uh, there's a question here for Dylan. It says, so for your last part of your answer, you agree that you took advantage of the wording of the CCA booklet, as in the only reason you can run is just because you technically joined one CCA. So you can be master listed.
Okay, I think to address this point, right, I did not take advantage of the wording. I mean that was what I understand of what was stated at the back of the CCA booklet. And technically I joined one CCA. E-hop. I mean, if you want to say E-hop, it's not considered during the AY. I think it's quite disrespectful to especially the E-hop PDs. A big part of E-hop is really damn shack to run the entire E-hop. And you want to discredit it to say it's not during the AY, then so what the points are not recognized. The efforts that are put in by the E-hop subcom is not recognized. I think it's quite disrespectful lah. And I think this was also insinuated by the whoever was trying to reject the JCR's my nomination was saying that EHOC is like technically not even a CCA. But if it's not a CCA, then why even bother having it? You know, like it is so important because that is where the first touch points we have with all the incoming freshmen, with the block heads to get to know all the block members or people who are inside the blocks and for the whole user to get together. So yeah. You want me to address this question as well? Or
Oh, sorry. That's not the question. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be the last question from the public lah. Then I think Fremont has one last question.
Sorry, my last question is, are you guys coming for tea next week?
Yes.
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 Sadly, I'm not joining T because I have night class on Wednesday. So yeah, I asked Vienna about it also because at first when it came out, it was on 6th April. Yeah, then I checked the. So yeah, and sadly my night class not recorded. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry,
Just
I'm
faster
on
buy
the
your
exchange.
yeah, no worries. Okay, faster buy your tickets. For everyone watching online, please buy your tickets also for tea. Thanks.
Okay. That'll be all. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you the candidates for your speech. Yes, and that'll be it lah. Then the elections com will update you all on the voting process in due time. Okay, thank you everyone.
Thanks, guys.